651 A Threat from the Past Part 1. I think we should contact our commanding officer, Floria said. As a person, I just want to run away from this nightmarish place. As a soldier, however, I think we should at least make sure that by opening Kula's gates we haven't unleashed some ancient horror upon the Griffin Kingdom. Lith nodded. He really hoped to receive the order to retreat. In the case that happened, he would only need to have Solaces to assume her tower form above the Mana Geyser once to be able to return there anytime he wanted. If it works, Solus said, the ground has been enchanted to not be affected by earth magic, and even if the Mana Geyser has not been claimed, most of its energy is drained by Kula. There might not be enough world energy left to assume my tower form, let alone to perform a warp. Floria took her army amulet out of her dimensional amulet and tried to contact the headquarters. Unlike a civilian device, the army communication amulet had green mana crystals supporting the blue one and amplifying its signal. Yet all the runes carved on its surface were inactive. She had to infuse it with her own mana to have even the emergency rune to lit up. Damn it, I don't know the reason, but now the signal sucks. Give me a hand, please. I can't speak and focus so much all at once. With Lith's help, the hologram of Commander Barian soon appeared between them. Floria reported to him everything that had happened and the losses they had suffered. Damn it, you should have called me the moment you realized it was a military compound. Your expedition isn't suited for that kind of recon. Historians are a must, but you need many more Masterforge masters and wardens. Barian slammed his fist against his desk. Lith had never seen him angry, not even during the events of Othar. Once he looked more carefully, Lith could notice that he stood corrected. The commander was worried, not angry. With all due respect, sir, the creature attacked the moment we stepped inside Kula, despite not even it being provoked. There is no telling that even if we didn't enter the premises it wouldn't have attacked us the moment we lowered our guard. It was controlled by a slave item, so despite its will was restricted, it was far from a mindless creature. Also, I think that your first order would have been to assess the danger the compound poses to the kingdom. Floria replied. You are right, Barian sighed. Those ODI were cunning. If you didn't destroy the arrays, they would have killed you as soon as the door was opened, whereas removing the arrays led that fungus thing free to murder you on the first occasion it got. Normally I would order you to get out of there and wait for reinforcements, but we have no idea what other contingency measures the ODI might have set in place. On top of that, now that the gates of Kula are open, we can't risk that someone coming from the tunnels might trigger the gods know what traps or steal the OD's secrets. Even worse, something could follow you to the surface, and if the fights break out inside the mines, our losses would be incalculable. For now, your task is to guard the compound and make sure that nothing gets in or out of it. I'll inform you as soon as the royals make their decision. This is too big, even for me to decide alone. Over and out. The moment the conversation was over, Floria put her amulet back inside her dimensional item and conjured a hush zone to prevent being heard. At least now we have our orders. Can you see something out of the ordinary in the tunnels? She asked. Lith's eyes flared up with life vision and then he looked around before replying. Nothing, but it doesn't mean much. When the techs attacked, I had no notice of it until it was too late and I can't see inside Kula's buildings due to the arrays surrounding them. I hope to receive some good news, Floria said. Kyla mentioned how the ODI used slaves and golems to do their scut work. Unless they manage to imprison another eternal being, we are bound to face golems. Being Kula a military compound, there must be a lot of them, and all armed to the teeth. Can life vision see them or are they invisible to it? They have no life force, but I can see their mana flow so I should be able to warn you in time. Unless they pull some stun like the tech, of course, Lith replied. By the time the remaining members of the expedition team woke up, it was already noon. Old age was an unbeatable enemy and some of the professors had suffered great damage, forcing them to rest for more than a day. Kyla and Marak were surprisingly energetic. They showed no sign of fatigue and they both ate for 2 people. Yandra still looked exhausted, but her movements were now lighter and nimbler than before. After Floria brought everyone up to speed, explaining to them what had happened after they had lost consciousness, Professor Gaku, the expedition leader, took a few deep breaths to calm down before saying, as much as it pains me to admit it, Barian is right. This team is ill-suited to explore such a historical marvel like Kula appears to be. At the word, marvel, the professors who were still grieving needed sheer willpower to not strangle her, and so did the surviving assistants. Yet everyone gritted their teeth and let her continue. Our team is still powerful, but his professor lacked the stamina and speed necessary to be truly useful. Our assistant's inexperience is a liability. Khalil almost doomed us all. To make matters worse, the ODI were truly cunning. In all of my years of experience, I've never faced arrays with so many layers of traps, nor creatures that powerful. I'm not going to lie, I proved to be a liability as well. If we preserved the arrays as I wanted, they would have killed us. Even if somehow we survived, I don't think I would have been able to beat that magical beast. I still don't understand how Ranger Verhan defeated it, but I can say that if that fungus had been on the level of an emperor beast, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Everyone nodded to those words, Lith included. He had faced only a non-awakened emperor beast in the past, and even then he had needed help to beat him. Now he was much stronger and better equipped, but after facing the sentient fungus, he realized that it wasn't only a matter of how powerful the opponent was, but also of how long the creature had to prepare the terrain for the fight. The spores would have been a much easier opponent if they hadn't spent centuries multiplying. Lith then explained to the rest of the group how he had survived the encounter. Gods, the ODI are almost embarrassing in their hubris. Gaku said when she heard about the cable fueling the arrays. Once again it would be a groundbreaking discovery, if not for its fatal weak point. If they applied the same method for sealing the buildings, getting inside will be the easy part, whereas facing what's waiting for us might cost us our lives. By Novel 2025. 1. Supreme Magus. Chapter 652, A Threat from the Past, Part 2. By the way, how did you find the container and how did you discover the cable? Gaku asked. Lith had already prepared an explanation, and after speaking with Floria, he had made it even simpler to justify his measly expenditure of mana. Thanks to Captain Ernest, I had the time to prepare a life-sensing array. Once I spotted the container, I got there too fast for the creature to follow me. I had enough time to notice that the arrays needed a power source, and I did what anyone in my situation would have done. I struck at everything that stuck out. Well done. A good mix of wisdom and luck is exactly what we need to survive. Gaku said. Survive? Do you think the army will not allow us to leave? Rainer asked, causing most of those present to sigh at his naivety. Of course not. We opened a can of worms and we are the only ones that can take care of it before the worst happens. Yandra said while patting his shoulder to reassure him. Now, since it's only a matter of time before going back inside Kula, I'll tell you all I know about the Odie's technology and my colleagues will do the same. Yandra explained to them the kinds of golems previous expeditions had faced and how to defeat them, going into details to the point of sharing even what forge masters considered secrets of their trade. No one missed. It wasn't an act of generosity so much as of desperation. Gaku and Elkas prepared for everyone a list of common ODI words they had to watch out for and the secret signs used to mark dangerous zones. By the time the seminar was over, it was already evening and everyone had quite a headache from the cramming. Oh gods, we're idiots, Floria said. Baryon can't contact us if we don't boost the signal on our end. As predicted, the commander had been waiting for them for hours, even starting to fear that the expedition had been wiped out. His orders were predictable as well. Their mission was now to search Kula with the utmost caution and leave only after making sure to not leave behind anything that could endanger the kingdom. Sadly, sending reinforcements is nigh impossible. Because of the interference, we can't pinpoint your coordinates, and even if we could, the interference would make it impossible to open a warp gate. I can only wish you good luck and hope you find only constructs and corpses down there. I'd have a request, sir, Lith said. Could you please tell my family I'm alright? They don't hear from me since the communications have been sealed. They must be worried sick. Baryon nodded, expecting the others to ask for the same, yet only an awkward silence ensued. Good gods, what a bunch of no-lifers. Now I really feel the need to tell my wife and kids I love them. The commander thought before hanging up the call. I envy you, Yandra said. Even if I went missing for a year, nobody would care. I would. Rainer's tone was hurt. No, you wouldn't, because you're always with me. You're the only real family I've left. Well then, it's already late, so I'd say we can start our exploration tomorrow first thing in the morning. Professor Gaku was eager to change the subject. Her career had been as successful as her personal life was empty. We'll split into 2 teams, each one comprised of a ranger, since they are our heavy hitters, a warden, and a forge master. Do you agree, Captain Ernest? Floria nodded, and after organizing guard duty, everyone went to sleep. They had a lot to do in the morning. Duchy of Luroxia, Crystal Mines, that same morning. 10 days had passed since the expedition team had left the mines and the goblin abomination hybrid named Kor had managed to safely resume her routine. The mines were now under heavy surveillance, but she didn't mind. Her dimensional magic combined with her ability to manipulate light made her invisible even to awakened ones. Fake mages had no chance of finding her. The fight with the 2 rangers had been a blessing in disguise. After almost dying due to having her goblin side heavily injured, her evolution had resumed at an astounding rate. The flesh and chaos energy which comprised her body were 2 separate entities no more. They had finally started to merge together, creating something new and completely unprecedented. Thanks to the goblin's unbridled vitality and the long incubation period while being constantly overfed by mana crystals, Kor's new body was now able to withstand the chaos. Puppeteer abominations needed to find new host bodies once the one they occupied was corroded, while eldritch abominations' bodies were made of pure chaos energy. It made them almost indestructible, but at the same time, it crippled their daily life. To prevent their energy from killing or destroying everything they touched, a lot of willpower was needed. To add insult to injury, it also required to consume part of the energy they had accumulated. Even if they could take human appearance, they couldn't keep such form for long without causing a massacre, either to feed or because they failed to control the raw energy their bodies were comprised of. For the same reason, things like forge mastering, alchemy, and all creative jobs were much harder for them than for humans. Kor's body instead was, for the lack of a better term, normal. She could freely touch things and, unlike all of her fellow abominations, chaos energy didn't seep out whenever she became distracted. It was a perfect shell that decreased her energy consumption and in turn her need to feed, leaving her lots of mana to spare for her magic. Who would have thought that being injured was the key to my evolution? Goblin tissues have repaired my abomination side while chaos energy strengthened my damaged flesh. Soon all of my forge mastery skills will become more than nostalgia. Fuck Kor, I'll be once again known as Baitra, the Forge Goddess. I bet that if my so-called, original, learned the truth, the envy would give her a stroke. Baitra thought. You're damn right. Unluckily for you, I've no veins anymore. An all too familiar voice resounded in her head. Baitra turned around, watching her double standing in front of her. Don't try to escape. I might not have life vision anymore, but I can track my own energy signature when we are close. Not running away after your existence was revealed to the public is the last mistake you'll ever make. Kor thought. Her clawed hands were filled with chaos mana, ready to be unleashed. Unlike the hybrid, she had all the time to prepare for their meeting. Back when she was still an emperor beast, Kor had been a Raiju, the evolution of a seer, horse-type magical beast, whose powers were based on the light and air element. Their appearance was that of a Chinese dragon fused with a warhorse. The resulting creature had silver-white scales covering their horse body, with large branching horns over their head, long whiskers, a thick silver mane, and a long, scaled dragonic tail. Kor's abomination body was humanoid and covered by black small scales. The small horns on her head and her hair dancing in the air despite the complete lack of wind in the cave were the only vestigial remnants of her old self.